The air in the subterranean vault, usually a dry, musty haven for untold wealth, was thick with the metallic scent of fresh ink and human sweat. In the winter of 1864, the United States Treasury, crippled by the Civil War's astronomical cost, was a hive of desperate activity. Yet this particular room, beneath the bustling surface of Washington, D.C., was reserved for secrets, not accounts. Andrew G. Johnson, a man whose hands habitually trembled from a lifetime of careful, clandestine work, was hunched over a heavy ledger. His eyes, magnified by thick lenses, scrutinized a single, newly minted copperplate work. It wasn't the quality that concerned him. It was perfect, an exquisite marriage of art and mechanism. It was the implications. This plate, bearing the design for a $5 legal tender note, was a masterpiece of engraving, virtually indistinguishable from the ones authorized by Secretary Salmon P. Chase himself. But it had not come from the official Treasury printing office. It had come, quite literally, from the shadows, smuggled out of the Confederate capital before the fall of Richmond, its origin a dizzying tangle of northern profiteers, southern desperation, and a shadowy collective of New York engravers. Johnson ran a gloved finger along the intricate scrollwork. "They called him the king of counterfeiters, sir," he whispered to the Treasury agent standing watch, a gaunt, unsmiling man named Alcott. Alcott didn't move his eyes from the locked steel door. "His target isn't a farmer, Johnson. It's the tycoons, the ones who think their gold reserves make them immune to the chaos. The king is planning a heist that won't steal from the vault, but from the confidence of the nation. Find out who he's selling to. Find the financer." The plate, a single, silent piece of metal, held the potential to flood the North with millions in perfect counterfeit greenbacks, collapsing the Union economy just as victory was within grasp. It was the ultimate weapon of economic sabotage. And in the chaotic, grasping atmosphere of the Gilded Age, one man, a man of impossible wealth and even more impossible vanity, was about to become its unwitting, spectacular victim. The year 1875 was a riot of steam, steel, and speculation in Manhattan. At the epicenter of this furious capitalism stood J.P. Morgan, a titan still years from his ultimate zenith, but already a force of nature. Yet our focus is not on Morgan, but on his great rival, a man whose name once commanded even more awe, Elias, the Iron Duke, Thorne's. Thorne's mansion on Fifth Avenue was a defiant monument to his ego, built with profits wrested from transcontinental rail and the brutal Chicago meatpacking industry. It was modeled loosely on a Venice palazzo, complete with a ballroom lit by 1,000 gas jets and a private observatory. But Thorne's true, deep-seated passion, his consuming, blinding obsession, was not money, it was history. Thorne believed himself to be the spiritual heir to the Founding Fathers, a modern architect of American destiny, and he yearned, with a collector's pathological hunger, for the ultimate, untouchable symbol of that legacy, the original, handwritten, signed manuscript of George Washington's farewell address. Rumors placed the manuscript's value at $50,000, $100,000, or perhaps more, a small fortune then. But for Thorne, it was priceless. It was an object that, if he possessed it, would sanctify his wealth, transforming him from a mere industrialist into a national patriarch. On a rainy Tuesday in October, his librarian, a meticulously organized former professor named Dr. Silas Vance, brought him a letter. To His Excellency, Elias Thorne, patron of American letters, I write to you concerning the object of your deepest desire, that singular testimony to American virtue, Washington's final word. I am in possession of certain facts, and indeed certain papers, that will lead you directly to the original. Address. However, discretion is paramount. I am not a dealer, but a custodian. Meet me alone at the designated hour in the place where America's earliest transactions were conducted. Signed, The Architect. Thorne's pulse hammered. The Architect. A theatrical name, but the tone of the letter was chillingly precise, devoid of the usual pedantry of relic dealers.
The place where America's earliest transactions were conducted, Dr. Vance, Thorne mused, his hand stroking his silver-tipped cane. Not Independence Hall,